Okay, then I think we should start our info session right now. So thank you everyone for joining us today. My name is Jen and I'm part of the admission team at the Institute of Global Specialists. So for today, we have our instructor, one of our instructors from CIL program, Keith Frank, and my colleague Paul Cole from admission team are also here with me to give you some insight about our programs. So for today's info session, we will begin with some general information such as admission requirements and fee structures. And then we will get into the programs in details. And then toward the end, there's a Q&A sections. We will be more than happy to answer your question at that time. If you have anything to ask during our presentation, you are welcome to type it on the chat box, and my colleague Yulia Dimitri-Scott from admission team, she will help answering your questions during our presentation. So to give you a little bit of general information about who we are and our programs, the Institute of Global Specialists is owned by a nonprofit organization, Canadian Society of Immigration Consultants, which was the previous regulator of immigration consultant in Canada. We are located in St. John, New Brunswick right now. So currently we offer 7 online programs. So you will be doing everything online. That will include your study material, lectures, assignment, and exam. So fully online. All the programs are designed using the Harvard Business School case study method of teaching. And all programs are offered in English only. There's no language requirement to join. No age limit to join either. We do accept international students. So international students pay the same rate as our Canadian students. As we provide fully online program, you can be anywhere around the world to study. In regards to time difference, you get to schedule your own study time. As long as you are meeting the deadlines, you are good to go. Our programs are definitely good for those who have other commitments or have a full-time job. However, you still have to devote at least 10 to 20 hours per week into your study to make sure that you submit your works on time and be able to succeed with your courses. A lot of students and people have inquired about placement. Like most college and university, we will offer career placement support to our students, such as help with writing resumes, identifying job opportunities, networks, improving job interview skills, things like that. But it will be ultimately up to you to seek employment after completing your program. I'd like to highlight something that's very unique and special about our instructors. They are people who have been working in the industries for over decades, and they are still actively involving in the field right now. So we carefully vetted each instructors and select highly qualified individuals to design and teach all our programs. So you are not just learning about the theory in your courses, but also learning about the real world experience from the instructors. You are more than welcome to take advantage of that. All the details and bios about instructors are available on our website, globalspecialist.org. We highly encourage you to check them out. The tuition fee for all IGS programs has just been lowered by 40% to $533 per module. We would like to help our students during this difficult time. We just wanted to make sure our programs are as accessible as possible to everyone who wish to improve their knowledge to get the new skills. Our payment plans are flexible as students can pay module by module basis. They are 6 to 9 modules depending on the program, and each module is about 4 to 5 weeks long. That means students can expect to pay 1 module per month. Also, if you're interested in only taking specific modules instead of the whole program, you can choose to take one or several modules if you want. For example, in our Canadian Immigration Law Specialist program, you can choose to take only the refugee module or economic class module if you wish. With our flexible module by module payment plans and our lower tuition fee, we hope this can help students realize their full potential at IGS. We have next start date scheduled for March 7, and you can still apply this week and still start next Monday. Another thing to mention about is we do also offer scholarship and financing. Please contact us for more information about that after our presentation. You can email us to inquire about that. Now, I will be talking about each program in details. I will be covering 3 programs, and Paul will be going through the other 4 programs. To begin with, I will be mentioning about the Canada Border Service Specialist Program. This program is designed and taught by former CBSA officers and experts who have over 15 or 20 years of experience in the field. This program will enable you with essential border services procedures and prepare you to be a capable professionals in immigration, customs, import, export, or concerning border services. This program has 7 modules and is 29 weeks long. Upon completion, you can seek employment with the public sector, of course, CBSAs, or if you want, you can apply job in the immigration department, as well as the private sectors. You can apply jobs with the company dealing with the cross-border services and regulations, importing, exporting business such as Walmart, Costco, oil mining organization. The next program I'm going to talk about is the Global Immigration Specialist Program. There are 6 interactive modules in this program, and it's 26 weeks long. This specific program will focus on the different global immigration paths through investment, such as purchasing property and business overseas. You are going to learn about over 20 countries that offer these programs. Countries like Caribbean countries, some European countries, and even some East Asian countries as well. Throughout the program, you're going to learn how to identify the needs and risks for your clients, that you can find the most efficient rules of immigration in a corporate context. All our GIS instructors have been practicing and providing immigration services and advice globally for over 20 or even 30 years. So once you complete this entire program, you will receive a diploma from us, which will qualify you to write an exam with the regulatory body, Global Society of Immigration Specialists, and work as a chartered global immigration specialist to provide service anywhere in the world that you wish. And then the next program I'm going to covering is the Global Education Specialist Program. Upon completion of this program, you could work as an international student agent for elementary, secondary schools, university, and colleges to receive commissions from them. And on the other hand, you could work as a consultant to help students and their families with the right admission process to the school of their choices. There are 8 modules in this program and is 38 weeks long. This program focuses on over 20 countries again. You will learn different levels of educational system in such as Canada, down in the state, in European countries, New Zealand, Australia, and in some East Asian countries as well. You're going to learn about the immigration aspects, such as how to apply for student study permit or visa for your students. And also, you will be learning about the different financial aids available for international students in different countries. How to build connections with schools as a designated agent and with clients as education advisors. So all our GS instructors are coming from different parts of the world with amazing background. They have over 20 years of experience in the industry. Some are former admission officers and recruiters at post-secondary institutions, and some are expert in processing admissions to K-12 education. Together, they can provide the comprehensive knowledge and on-field experience you need as a successful education advisor. So similar to the global education program, once you complete this entire program, you will be able to write an exam with the regulatory body, Global College of Education Specialists, and work as a chartered global education specialist. Now, Paul will go over the other 4 programs in detail.
Thank you, Jen. My name is Po, and I am the Admissions and Student Affairs Representative at the Institute of Global Specialists. I'll now be going over the 4 remaining programs that we offer, beginning with the Foreign Service and International Development Specialist program. Like all of our programs, the Foreign Service and International Development Specialist program is completely online. There are 6 modules in the program, and it is 24 weeks long. The program will introduce students to the world of diplomacy in bilateral and multilateral settings. The program will examine real-world examples of diplomacy involving Canada and other countries, such as the relationship between Canada and the US. Students will develop essential diplomatic skills such as intergovernmental negotiation and networking. And these diplomacy skills are not just specific to Canada. They are transferable skills for anyone who wishes to join a career in diplomacy anywhere in the world. The program will also cover how to manage international development projects and the effects of globalization, which are major priorities for NGOs and Global Affairs Canada. I'd also like to take a moment to highlight the amazing instructors we have in the program. Our instructors have 15 to 30 years of experience as foreign officers with the Canadian government or as development specialists. So they are very knowledgeable and well-connected in the industry. The next program that I'll talk about today is the Canadian Immigration Law Specialist Program. The Canadian Immigration Law Specialist Program is geared toward anyone who wishes to have an in-depth understanding of how to navigate the immigration system in Canada. Using the Harvard case study method of teaching, the program covers key aspects of Canadian immigration law and regulations. Please note that this program is not meant for those wishing to become a regulated immigration consultant in Canada. That is a profession regulated by the College of Immigration and Citizenship Consultants. However, there are promising opportunities after taking our program, such as working for the government or for NGOs or at an existing consulting firm. The program is taught by immigration consultants who have decades of experience navigating the Canadian immigration system. There are 9 modules in the program, and it is 42 weeks long. This is the longest program that we offer, as it covers the complexities of Canada's immigration system. The program covers topics such as PR and citizenship, economic class, family class, temporary class, appeals, hearings, detentions, and refugees. The next program that I'll talk about today is the Global Supply Chain Specialist Program. At the basic level, supply chain management involves acquiring goods or services to achieve your business goals. And in today's globalized world, supply chain management has never been more important. And we've all heard about recent supply chain problems in the news. For example, delays in consumer goods has been a major problem for many retailers. The Global Supply Chain Program consists of 7 modules and is 26 weeks long. Our program will examine the supply chain process for the public sector, which includes all levels of government, and the private sector. You will learn how to navigate the complexities of the request for proposal process, known as RFPs, and how to negotiate contracts. The program will cover the supply chain landscape in various countries in Canada, the US, and in the UK. The instructors in our program have diverse backgrounds in the supply chain sector, including the fields of transportation, mining, healthcare, telecommunications, construction, and more. Our instructors have experience in both the private and in the public sectors of supply chain management. The program is perfect for business owners interested in trading with the government or professionals who want to make a career in the global supply chain sector. The last program I'll talk about today is the Artificial Intelligence and Machine Learning Specialist Program. The Artificial Intelligence and Machine Learning Specialist Program consists of 7 modules and is 28 weeks long. The program will introduce students to the theoretical and the practical applications of machine learning and data science. Through data analysis and visualization, students will learn how to use AI technologies to optimize their business. This program also includes live instructor lessons, so it's very hands-on. The program will cover Python, Jupyter Notebooks, and Google Colab. All of our instructors are leading experts with backgrounds in both data science and in business. This means that they have the academic and the real-world expertise to help students succeed. The program is perfect for business professionals who work with any type of data and who wish to stay competitive by using the power of machine learning and data science. Finally, I'd like to take a moment to highlight our free career placement support module. This free module is available to all of our students to help them transition seamlessly to a new job. This module helps students with networking, identifying career opportunities, resume building, and interviewing skills. Now, I'd like to introduce an instructor at IGS, Keith Frank. Keith Frank is an immigration consultant with 40 years of experience in Canadian immigration. He is currently teaching the refugee module in our Canadian immigration law program. Welcome, Keith.
Thank you, Bo, for such a warm introduction. I am Keith Frank, and I'm the CEO and the president of Keith Frank and Associates. As Bo said earlier, I've been practicing over the last 40 years, and I've been the national president and vice president of the professional body of immigration consultants. And I was one of the nominees for the first top 25 Canadians immigrants for the Royal Bank of Canada Award. I think that's enough of me. Let me proceed to address the issue for which I'm invited to speak today, and that is the immigration refugee program that I teach. First, let me give you the definition of a refugee. A refugee is anyone who, by reason of a well-founded fear of persecution, for reasons of race, religion, nationality, membership in a social group, or political opinion. A person who is outside the country of nationality and by reason of fear is unwilling to reveal himself to that country. Not having a country of nationality, is outside a country of his habitual residence and by reason of fear is unwilling to avail himself to the protection of the country. The importance of knowledge in refugee law plays a crucial role in today's society. For anyone who is enrolled in the immigration law specialist program. The refugee law program, it's a 5 weeks program long, and it consists of 8 segments with a final exam. There are 5 assessments and 3 discussions. And of those 5 assessments and 3 discussions, it gives you an in-depth knowledge of the refugee law. It covers the introduction to refugee claimant and ends with a favorable resolution of a winning case. If for some reason your refugee case is unsuccessful, then you have what is called a PRA, but we will get back to the PRA. In your first assignment, which is a discussion, it gives you an introduction to a client who has a case that has come before you, and you want to know whether or not the client has a winning case, or whether the case meets certain criteria for your presentation. And so you're faced with an ethical question as whether or not you take the case. As you complete that assignment, of course, you are given documentation to make your assessment. As you complete that first discussion, where you learn from your colleague based on their understanding of the law, you're able to make comments on what they say. And so you learn from each other in a group. So you impart your knowledge and you learn. It moves you now to your second assignment, which is an assessment that deals with the differences with the kind of claims that are presented to the department. We have what you call an inland claim, and you have a claim that is made at the border. So there's a difference, and you go through certain requirements with one as opposed to the other. For example, if you're making an inland claim, it means that you're in Canada, and you may have come to Canada by receiving a visa. So you're privileged to approach one of the local offices to initiate a claim. Now, we're in a situation where we have been experiencing for the last 2 years COVID. So they have certain mechanism where it can be done on the computer. If you're making a claim at the border, you go through a different process where you're not spoken to by an immigration officer, but you're spoken to by a Canada Border Service Agency, who finds that you're eligible to proceed with your claim or you're ineligible, and as a result, you're turned back. So that assignment gives you knowledge as to your information to your client as to what kind of claim to be made. And so you will state the differences and the advantages of making such a claim. We move now to item number 3, or assessment number 3, where you qualify your client as a refugee claimant. There are 2 aspects of that where a client can be considered a refugee having met the legal grounds and have a nexus for their claim. And in most cases, a member from the Refugee Protection Division, which is part of the Immigration and Refugee Board, will make a determination and is considered, you can have a bench decision. A bench decision is a decision where the member immediately finds your client as a refugee, and he or she makes a finding. Your client, in that case, your client is considered a refugee. Your client also could be considered a person who's not a refugee, but the person needs protection because of certain fears that the client will face if he or she were to return to the country. So the client still would be given a letter from the officer to find that your person needs protection, hence you fall under that criteria as a refugee. You move now to your discussion number 4, where you're given what is called a BOC form. That's a basic of claim form. The basic of claim form is where you input your information, meaning the client's information, and you state your reasons of your fear of returning. And so that plays an integral role if your case is found eligible and it now proceeds to the RPD division. That's where you justify your claim. And that's where you're supposed to be consistent with what you said in the BOC form. And that's where there's a lot of wrangling with counsel, the client, and a member of the Immigration and Refugee Board. Because some clients do not really remember what they say, or they tell lies. And as a result, a decision is made where the officer will say there's no credibility. So as counsel there, you have to be very to the point where your client is concerned and realizing that you're not put into the department a fictitious story. Because if you tell lies, of course, you're not going to be able to remember what you said. It moves us now to assignment number 5, where you prepare your client for an interview. And you want to know the importance of the preparation of the interview and why it is important to prepare your client. It takes you right back to the BOC form, the basic of claim form. And so you need to sit with your client, review the details of what was said, and to be consistent in your approach in presenting to the officer from the Immigration and Refugee Board. Okay. It moves us again now to item number 6, which is an assessment of the RPD rules. RPD rules, Immigration Protection Division rules. The Immigration Division has certain rules that counsel has to comply with. And those rules are the size of the paperwork that you're submitting. If you have a witness, the department needs to know in advance that there's a witness and the qualification of the witness so that they're prepared to address that. If you're counsel, you need to notify them of your interests as counsel. So there are some basic rules, and there are rules that apply whereby you present a winning case. But it's all consistent with the RPD rules. Of course, you're given materials so you know what rules are applicable to your particular situation. Discussion number 6. Oh, discussion number 7. Discussion number 7 deals with the legal grounds of your client's case. A client can be considered a refugee on grounds of their fear of returning to their native country. They may have personal risk. They may not have any state protection. They might be something we call a IFA, internal flight alternative. And they may be in a situation where the risk is not the norm to qualify under the category as a refugee or not having a nexus. But of course, it is a risk that is not normally shared by others. Also, at that point in time, we want to know what are the likely questions that will be asked to your client by the member. So you, in preparation, will think about all the possible scenarios to address these questions so that your client is conversant with questions that are likely to be asked. And so you address them prior in preparation for your client. Now, it brings us finally to item number 8. Like I said, there are eight aspects of the refugee law. And it's a scenario where you're given a narrative by the panel member where he didn't have the time to make a finding in your case. And so he asked you to, or she asked you to make a written submission as to whether or not your client is deserving to be considered a refugee. Now, in a scenario of that nature, the officer is not sure in what direction he will go, whether he make a positive or a negative decision. So you now have to re-emphasize any weak points that you've seen to bring it to the attention and to, in your submission to the officer, so you appear very convincing on behalf of your client. Now, at the completion of all of that, you have a final exam. And your final exam covers all the scenario that we have gone through there, from A to Z. Now, I did say to you shortly, we'll come back to the PRAT. Now, supposing you made your presentation and you had a negative decision, and your client would have stayed in the country for an excess of 12 months, he or she becomes eligible for a PRA, and an invitation would be sent to that client by Canada Border Service Agency. We use a short form, we say CBSA, and CBSA will call you in either by writing or by a telephone call, and you come in for an interview. That interview gives you a second life where your client is concerned. And let's be very practical in light of what is happening today. If your client was a citizen of Ukraine and he or she had come to Canada prior to what was happening in Ukraine today and had initiated a refugee claim and was found not to be eligible as a refugee, and now, based on the changing conditions, you see, immigration law is forward-looking. Based on the changing conditions of what is happening today, if your client was given what is called a PRA, he's likely to receive a successful decision, because at the time of his or her refugee claim, he or she was not able to share with the board why he or she was afraid to return, because what we are experiencing today in Ukraine was not there 12 months ago. Conversely, if your client were to come to Canada today from Ukraine and indicates that he wanted to make a refugee claim, there is no question that you'll be able to assist your client in that refugee claim, because there is no short of circumstance as to why there's an unwillingness to return to the Ukraine today, because Ukraine is now being bombarded by Russia. Now, our government, Canadian government, has been signatory to the United Nations Convention since 1951. And we have been one of the most generous countries in the world assisting in refugees. We have done that in Syria and Afghanistan. And it's my understanding just recently there's been an announcement by the federal government indicating that they will help an unlimited number of refugee settlement from Ukraine. So the question is, it is so important for you to have the knowledge in refugee law, because you can practice with a lawyer, you can practice with a consultant, you can practice with a non-governmental organization, because there are so many non-government organizations that show an interest for the inhabitants of their country and their system. So jobs in this field are overflowing and will be overflowing. As you know, in today's society, we all look for greener pastures, and Canada is considered one of the better countries in the world to resettle. Now, why should you do this course? Because you have me as an instructor, and I will give you all the necessary guidance. As a former educator, I have the patience and the understanding to lead you through successfully as you endeavor to register to become a member of IGS. I thank you for your audience, and best of luck for you. Thank you, Paul.
Thank you, Keith.
You're welcome.
Now, before we jump into the Q&A section, I'd like to take a quick moment to remind you all of our recent tuition change. We've recently lowered our tuition by 40% to help our students. The tuition was previously $889 per module, and it's now $533 per module. We have monthly start dates, and the next start date is scheduled for March 7th. Okay, so now to conclude our info session, we'd like to hear from you. If you have any questions regarding our programs, please feel free to ask right now by typing in the chat. Our instructor, Keith Frank, is here to help answer any questions. and so is Jen and I. Looks like we have a question here about the CIL program. If I can't become an immigration consultant after taking the Canadian immigration law program, what kind of jobs can I get after graduating? That's a good question. So our program is not meant for those wishing to become a Canadian immigration consultant, as we previously mentioned, but there are promising career opportunities after taking the program, such as working for the government of Canada at NGOs, like what Keith had mentioned earlier, or as an existing immigration consulting firm. Keith, do you have any additional insights on that? Like, do you have any comments on what other job opportunities someone could have after taking the Canadian immigration law program, maybe some organizations or anything?
Yeah, there are numerous areas working for me, for example, any practitioner, and there are many practitioners, a law firm, or with NGOs, and those are the primary areas that we can direct our clients where jobs are available.
Right.
Yeah.
Thanks, Keith. We hope that answered that question. Any other questions regarding our programs? Looks like there's a question here about the format. Are your programs go at your own pace, and are they all fully online? So yes, in terms of online, our programs are fully online. Jen, did you want to perhaps explain a bit more about the format and how the program works for students?
Sure. So yeah, all our programs, they are 100% online. So basically, when you complete the application process, so we will you pay your first module and we will provide you with the login information. So the login information that we provide would let you access the online portal that we have. So that on the online portal, you will be accessing all the study material. So that's gonna be your readings, some slides, and of course, there are some assignments and discussions, quizzes, final exam, as Keith mentioned. So everything is going to be complete online. So you can definitely access them 24/7 that you wish. So if you do have a full-time job, you can definitely complete that after you work when you are available. But however, for each modules, there is a specific calendar for each module. So you will have to follow that particular calendar to see what's the deadlines for your assignment and what's the day to do your final exam or quizzes, things like that. So make sure that you don't miss any of those deadlines and you should be good. Yeah.
Thanks, Jen. Yeah, so it is pretty flexible for those who are currently working or studying elsewhere. The online format is meant for people who are living in different time zones or who are working full time. So it looks like we have another question here in the chat, in the general chat. After we have done all of our modules, do we need to go through an exam to have a license? And what about English level requirements? So the question about exam to have a license will depend on what program you're looking at. Jen, did you want to perhaps add to that?
Yeah, so there are two programs that would potentially lead you to a license exam. One is the Global Immigration Specialist Program. So upon completion of that, you will need to write an exam with the regulatory body, Global Society of Immigration Specialists. So you can become a chartered global immigration specialist. And then the other program is the Global Education Specialist Program. So these two programs is leading you to become a licensed consultant. That's for you to be able to provide service after that. Other than that, so for the Canadian Immigration Law Specialist Program, for this specific program, we as Paul and Keith mentioned, this program is not going to lead you to become a Canadian immigration consultant. So if you are looking for the career to become a Canadian immigration consultant, you will have to seek advisors from the regulatory body, current body. Yeah.
Thanks, Jen. And there's also a question about English exam. Do you want to perhaps go over briefly the criteria for admission criteria in our program, Jen?
Yeah, so for the admission criteria, we don't have specific requirements for that. So anyone with any backgrounds can apply to join our program. There's no language requirement neither. As long as you are comfortable studying in English, you're able to read, write in English, you should be good. And for I just want to go through the application process if anyone who wants to join. So for the application process, all you have to do is go to our website, globalspecialist.org. And then there's an enroll button where you can click and complete all the general information and submit a copy of your resume and pay $175 application fees. And you should be good to complete the application process. And once we receive your application form, we will review and get back to you within 48 hours.
Thanks, Jen. And just a reminder that the next application date is March 7th. Are there any other further questions? It looks like we have one question here. What is the difference between the Canadian Immigration Law Specialist Program and the Global Immigration Program? So that's a good question. The Canadian Immigration Law Specialist Program, as the name implies, focuses on Canada, so Canadian immigration. So the program covers, as I mentioned earlier, Canadian PR, citizenship, economic class, family class, temporary class, appeals, hearings, detentions, and of course, refugees. So it's very Canada focused. Now, the Global Immigration Specialist Program has a more global scope. So that program, it helps prepare students to identify global permanent residency and citizenship opportunities through investments and asset management. So students can identify like political and financial risks from different countries to help their client choose what country is the best fit for them. So they are different, but they actually, they work well together. They synergize well, because if a student takes the Canadian Immigration Law Program and the Global Immigration Specialist Program, they have the coverage of Canada and the global stage. So those are a good combination. Are there any other questions regarding our programs or questions for Keith, our instructor? Okay, it looks like we don't have any questions. So before we wrap up today, we encourage everyone to check out our website and read about our instructors under the faculty section. We're very proud of our instructors, of course, and they have been carefully chosen for their expertise and their real-world experience. In addition, we also offer free demo modules of each of our programs. So if you're interested in a specific program, you can explore the free demo module to see how the program works. To request access to a free demo module, submit a request on our website or email us directly. Our website is globalspecialist.org, and you can apply online for the March 7th start date. You can also email us at info@globalspecialist.org or call us at 1-888-228-4598. So we'd like to thank you for your time, and we hope to hear from you soon. Bye now.
Thank you.